welcome back to Masala with a Twist, the podcast. Today I am going to be making a one pot butter chicken dish. So this basically is only going to need one pot. You will need your Vitamix or a mixer of some sort that's going to be able to blend everything up. And I am also going to be using my rotisserie chicken that I have left over. Typically I make it with the rotisserie chicken when I have it, or I make it with the tandoori chicken that I usually make over here. On the weekends I usually have that going, so I make an abundance so that I can make butter chicken or chicken tikka masala during the week, so then it already has that tandoori smoked flavor. But today I have some rotisserie chicken left over, so I'm going to show you how you want to do that. So let's get into the ingredients needed. Ingredients, you're going to need some of the whole spices that I have listed in the bottom: bay leaf, some cinnamon, onion, tomatoes. I would say about 3 tomatoes would be good, 3 to 4 depending on the size. A handful of almonds or cashews, that will help thicken it up. Butter or ghee, and also ginger garlic paste. Water, some cutting utensils to cut up your ingredients, as well as something to mix, and of course your favorite pan. You will also need your Vitamix, which I do not have out here yet, or whatever you're going to use to blend everything up. So first, got my pan with the lid. I'm going to be cooking outside. It's already 94 degrees and it's just now turning 10 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be really hot today. You need some water. So again, all the ingredients will be listed in the bottom. Add that to the pan. Tomatoes, I usually have about this size, so like, handful. I do about 3 of those and just cut them up. They don't need to be chopped or anything. I just cut them in fourths, put them in the pan. That's the great thing. Everything literally goes in, cooks down, and then you're going to blend it up. Okay, tomatoes are in there. My whole spices going in. And the bay leaf, cinnamon. The almonds, again, you can use almond or cashews. I happen to have almonds left. I don't have any cashews left in the house, so I'm going to use those. And it's a handful, so probably about 12, 15 of those. All right, and then onion. I do a large onion. So again, you can just cut it up. And I just cut it into big chunks like this. Oops. And throw it in there. I'm gonna want some ginger garlic paste. You can put fresh ginger and garlic in there. I just have some paste, so I'm just throwing it in there. I just made it over the weekend, so nice and fresh. Always have that on hand. And then you're gonna do butter or ghee. I'm going to use butter today because I am currently making ghee because I ran out. That'll be another video. So you're gonna add some of the butter in. You can use sticks, regular butter, whatever you have. I just am using what I have on hand here until my ghee is done, which it'll be done later today. And basically everything is in here. All right, so everything is in here. We're just gonna let it cook through. It's gonna boil, and then we're gonna be watching for the tomatoes and onions to get a lot softer. But basically just stick it in there, and I do it on medium heat. And of course I'm doing it outside. For the whole spices, I usually throw them in there. Cardamom is all good. For whatever reason, when we do the whole black cardamom in there, sometimes there's little grains or strings that come from the black cardamom shell. So I do muddle it a little bit just to pop it open. So here is the outside shell. And so these little, it looks like a tiny little mini coconut. So these little strings get in it, and you can sometimes taste it. I never have, but Sakrit tends to be the one that gets it every single time. So once you've cracked it open, then you have all the little black cardamom seeds. And so I stick those in there. So I would just throw in this. Otherwise, the green cardamom is all good, totally fine. Throw it in there and it'll blend up just as well. While this cooks, I'm going to go ahead and get the chicken all ready and diced up and ready to go in. And then I'm also going to think about if I'm going to make some rice on the side or naan. Maybe we'll do some fresh naan today. And so you can kind of get that ready as well. But this is basically, it's done in no time at all. So then we'll go ahead and add in some of the spices here in a few minutes when it's about halfway. Once that has come to a boil is when I'm going to add spices. So you're going to need some salt, which you're going to also want some chili powder, which we use Kashmiri mirch, which is our favorite. Gives a lot of flavor. And then you also maybe a little bit of coriander, and then we will put a little bit in, let it cook through, and then when we blend, I might add a little bit more once I taste it. All right, so this is boiling nicely. We're going to go ahead and add in some spices. So I'm going to add some coriander. Again, these will be in the bottom. So coriander, salt, and Kashmiri mirch. And then give that a stir. and let this continue cooking through until the onion is a little bit softer. Tomatoes are just about there, but the onions could do a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and pour it into the Vitamix in my container here, or whatever blender you're using. Just make sure that it can handle heat because it's going to be pretty hot. And I have my towel because I always splash it all over myself. Make sure you get everything out of the bottom and mix it up so it's nice and smooth. And keep this handy because we'll put it right back into this pan so we can add our protein to it. We've got this ready to go. I'm going to add in my fenugreek now. I don't have fresh leaves. Nobody had them in stock right now. So I'm just going to add in the flakes that I have. All right, so we're in there ready to go. We're just going to mix it up on low to start. All right, so it's all blended up. That steam coming off, but it is a very nice, buttery smooth. We're going to go ahead and add this back into the pan. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to put my chicken in, but first I want to do this on low heat for about 10 minutes. It just helps it thicken up and smooth out. Then I'm going to add in my chicken. Taste it as well to see where your spice level is at. You might want it spicier, you might want it, a little bit more salt, whatever. You're going to go ahead and add that in now. I'm going to go ahead and add my this to the burner and then go ahead and let it go for 10 minutes. I'm just going to be tearing up my chicken from this rotisserie that I had. And this recipe, like I said, is super easy and quick, can be added to any meal plan. I mean, you basically need tomatoes, spices, onion, chicken. So there are many, many variations on how you can do butter chicken. But again, this one is pretty flavorful, and I rarely use any milk or dairy of any sort in it, so it comes out extremely creamy, and I just try to make it a little bit healthier with just watching what kind of butter I use as well. I mean, do put some ghee in sometimes, it just depends on what I have. Again, we're just gonna get my main protein all ready, and then we're gonna wait for that to be cooked through. That has simmered for 10 minutes after being all blended up, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my chicken that I've crumbled up and give it a quick stir. And then I'm going to let it cook for another 10 to 15 minutes on a very low flame, just so that it gets into the chicken and marinates it. So I've added the chicken, whatever protein you're adding, go ahead, give it a stir. And then I'm going to let this cook for about 10 minutes on a low flame, just so that it marinates into the chicken. At this point, it is done. I'm going to serve it over some either rice or naan, whatever you want to do. And I would love to hear if you've tried this. So again, there's many variations on this. This is just one that I do that's very quick, that we usually do when I have leftover tandoori, or if I have some leftover rotisserie chicken. I appreciate you tuning in and following along with this recipe. I would love for you to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done so already, as well as our YouTube channel, where I will be posting the videos from the podcast on there as well. But again, like and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.